Hey, and welcome to the Meditations and Musings podcast. I'm Elena Lipson. I'm a mama, I'm a wife, and I'm the founder of the Divine Self-Care Circle membership and the Virtual Retreat Academy. I don't believe that you have to sacrifice your body, your health, or your family in order to create true abundance and prosperity. I believe in living based on the divine feminine metrics of success, and these include pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. Each week, I'll bring you 1 to 2 new episodes. One of these will be a guided meditation that you don't have to do on the meditation pillow, and the other will be a conversation to help you access your inner wisdom, to ignite abundance, and inspire others to do the same. I invite you to join me on this journey back to the magic of a divinely aligned and well cared for you. And now, join me for today's episode. Hello there, and welcome back to this podcast. I'm so excited to have you here for today's episode. This is one that I wasn't going to record today, but it felt absolutely perfect in light of the topic. I had a whole other topic planned for you, which you'll get next week, which is called Making Midlife Magic. And it's a topic that is near and dear to my heart because I used to actually hate the word midlife, but now I see it very, very differently. And I realize it was a part of an entire story that I had about it. So that is coming up on the next episode of the podcast. But today we're going to talk about how to be okay with the unknown. And this is a topic that affects every one of us at a different phase in our life, because even though there are definitely things that you can control in your life, and if you're anything like me, you are definitely have a healthy level of respect for the ability to take control of your life and co-create and to manifest and do all those things. But the funny thing is, most of life is living in this space of unknown, whether you are consciously making changes to transform your life, whether you are changing a life situation, a work situation, a health situation, or you are simply trying to create a future for yourself that you are intentionally choosing to change things in your life. Or maybe there's a situation in your life that you are not happy with and you want to change it, right? It leaves you in this place of not wanting to be where you are, but also not where you want to be yet. And it creates this gap of unknown. And the funny thing is, the more you dive into spirituality and evolution, personal transformation, you start to understand that the only separation between you and what you desire is your perception of how far you have to go to get there, right? Or you've heard me talk about the book, The Big Leap, before by Gay Hendricks, and he talks about the upper limit problem, where we have this preconceived notion, which is many, many times subconscious, handed to us by family constructs, by our history, by our experiences, where we have this idea of what is acceptable or what we can handle. And this could be anything from money to relationships to happiness levels, or maybe there's a guilt that comes with it that you don't even understand or you have. And so it keeps sabotaging. So we've talked about sabotage before quite a bit on this podcast in past episodes. So if you haven't read The Big Leap, it's one of the books I highly recommend. It's on my resources page on my website. You can go over there or just search for it on Amazon. But regardless of where you are, there's probably some area of your life that feels like it's not fully set, right? Or even the perception of something being fully set is sort of a misperception, right? Because things are constantly changing, constantly evolving. I have yet to meet a person who's like exactly 100% where they are in all areas of their wheel of life, whether it's relationships or health or business or money or creativity or friendships. There's something, or family relationships, right? There's something in your life that you are wanting to make better or different or change or evolve. And that leaves you in this place of the unknown or having an unsolved problem, right? Which is a perception in itself, having a problem, because the perception that it's a problem means that it's not a good thing. Whereas living in the unknown requires you to understand and see that you have to commit to a certain level of trust in not knowing what's going to happen next, and trusting that, in fact, something that is perceived as a problem by some people could actually be an invitation to refine your self-perception, to stop telling the same old stories again, to redefine your relationship with health or money or your inner stories or work or whatever it is. It really, really puts a level of trust and patience at the forefront. And it also invites you to be at the edge of what's comfortable for you. So I wanted to read this passage to you from one of my favorite books that was gifted to me years ago, and it's super worn, and I bring it to my my clients, my membership, and the members in my circle quite a bit, and they're really on point. It's really fascinating. It's like a daily meditation on whatever the energy of the day is, and this book is called The Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty. You might have heard me mention this before. So I wanted to read today's passage. It's really powerful. It's exactly what we're talking about today. The title is, and it's really short, but I want you to just take a moment, and if you're distracted or doing something else, just listen to the words, because it's got some wisdom in it for all of us. So this is called Live with Unsolved Problems. Sometimes we need to live for a while with a particular behavior, problem, or situation before we're ready to change it. Sometimes we have to live with it so long, conscious that it's a problem, but unable yet to solve or change it, that we can hardly bear it. We're fully aware that we want and need something different, but the situation still hasn't changed. The answer has not yet arrived. We worry that the situation will continue eternally and the problem will never be solved. During those times of living with a problem and the desire to solve it, we may long for the old days, those days when our denial system was intact and we didn't know what we were doing. If you can't solve it yet, if you can't change it yet, it's okay to live with it just as it is. Something is happening. The situation is changing. You're on your way to change. Trust that the waiting part of change is necessary. Trust that your desire for change is the beginning of change. Trust that each moment you are moving closer to the change you desire. So I hope you heard what I heard in there, and I'll peel the layers back a little bit. One of the things that was really a standout sentence to me in there is that the answer has not yet arrived. And to me, it feels like if you can think about any situation in your life in the past, and perhaps you can think of a time where you really wanted to take some action or do something or change something, but you just couldn't quite do it. And then all of a sudden you had an inspiration, or someone perfectly timed entered your life, or you found a book that you needed the exact piece of information that it had. And all of a sudden everything just fell into place. Well, honestly, most of life is like that, right? But the trick is that even though the answer hasn't arrived yet, that you're still responsible, fully responsible for doing the inner work, for taking the external actions to be in a place of receiving. That's the difference. Sometimes people can mistake being in the unknown for doing nothing, which is not, it's absolutely not the place to be. You want to be in an active place. So it's kind of a paradox, right? So on the one hand, you understand that something is about to happen. You want something to change, but it's not quite ready yet. There's nothing really to do except for intend the change, and you don't even know what it is yet, right? But on the other hand, you can't be passive about it either, right? You can be relaxed, not passive. You can be waiting with positive expectation and still taking inspired, consistent action in the realm of self-care, in the realm of clearing out your energy, in the realm of preparing space for what you want, meaning some of the things that I help my clients do in the situation and the members in my circle, we start with things like clearing space, inner and outer clutter, There was a previous episode on clearing the inner clutter. You can go ahead and find that as well if you scroll back to previous episodes. You can close the loops. Now, I actually have a whole episode on this, so I'm not going to go into this, but episode 3, way back when, was an episode called Close the Loops. And this is a way for you to close energetic open loops, because when you have open loops in your life, it actually stalls change from happening. And this could be anywhere from projects that you haven't finished yet that maybe you don't even want to finish anymore, but they're still out on your dining room table, or there are emails that you never replied to, and there's conversations that you didn't finish that need to be healed or finished. There's many, many ways you can have open loops. And so go back to episode 3 when we're done here and check that out, because it's a really powerful practice, and it will help you, especially if you're in a place of wanting to evolve and change. Having those open loops can actually stall progress in a really powerful way. And once you start clearing those loops, it could actually move energy in a way that you weren't even expecting, right? Because true change can happen in an instant. And the true change can sometimes happen in a long time, right? It depends on what you're ready for, ready to receive. Because time is just a linear perception, right? So we have these beliefs about how long things should change or take. So if you have things that are blocking messages or arrivals, or if you're just overwhelmed with too much stuff, open energy loops in your life, it's just going to keep you from having those inspirational moments, from being spontaneous, from being in a place of receiving creative solutions to things that you do want to change. So how do you be happy? How do you be okay with the unknown? Well, first you start by acknowledging that you are actually in a place of unknown and mystery, and that's okay. Right? Because sometimes we want to hurry up and just get the thing done. But sometimes hurrying means that you are skipping steps, that you are actually not quite fully clear on what you desire. And this is a great time to create a meditation practice, or get into stillness, or have somebody in your life, like a coach or a mentor or a friend who can listen well, to have you actually speak it. Like for me, sometimes when I'm an unknown, it really helps me to speak it out loud to someone and actually process it as I speak it. But it's very, very important that the person you're processing with does not give you solutions, because this is your unknown, not theirs. If you're asking them for insight or opinion, that's one thing, but they cannot create the clarity for you, right? A good coach and mentor creates space for you and helps you clear blocks, helps you acknowledge capacity limit issues. Like if you're sabotaging yourself, or if you're limiting yourself in some way, a good mentor can help you see that. But they shouldn't give you a solution unless you're hiring them for a consulting job to do a specific task. So living in the unknown requires truly that you trust yourself completely, that you are patient with the unfolding, and that you close energetic loops. Very, very simple, but very, very difficult for a lot of us, especially controlling types, right? Who are, if you're an entrepreneur or a mom or whoever, it doesn't even matter what role you play in life. So many of us are, me included, hand up, are wanting to control things and create things and get it going already. And why is it taking so long, right? But if we can pause and really understand, okay, we're actually in a period of unknown right now. We actually have cycles and rhythms that we go through, and the clarity will come if we just create the space for it by slowing ourselves down, finding time to relax, and to create those clean energy spaces by closing the loops. So I highly encourage you to go check out episode 3 on closing the loops, and just to start thinking about what areas in your life can you be more present and okay with the mystery of the unknown that you're in right now. All right. I know it's a little bit of a shorter episode today, but I want to give you some time to go check out Closing the Loops, because it was a long time ago and a lot of people haven't heard that one. So I totally invite you to go back to the beginning episodes. It's where I lay the foundation of this inner work that we're doing here. And it gives you some really tangible, practical tools way back in the beginning as well. So if you're just getting to the podcast in the later episodes now, you might want to go back. So start with episode 1 if you want to, but I highly recommend, as it pertains to what we're talking about today, one of the tools is to close the loop. So that's episode 3. All right. Thank you so much for being here today. As always, find me on Instagram, Elena_Lipson. Share a screenshot of this podcast. Let me know you're listening. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll be starting some Q&A in the upcoming episodes. If you ever have a question you want to submit, go ahead and do that at info@elenalipson.com or through the DM function on Instagram. All right. Hope you have an amazing day or rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you again for the grace and time of your space. Take care. Thank you so much for listening and learning about the new divine self-care way of being in your life, business, and the bedroom based on the divine feminine metrics of success: pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. If you're ready to bust the myth of overwhelm and tap into an inspired start to each day, I've put together a free video series for you to help you start each day with energy, inspiration, and ignite that inner pilot light which attracts joy, magic, and synchronicity. You can access my 3-step magic morning practice to help you ignite your inner light and attract the abundance that you're craving. Head on over to elenalipson.com/gift. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would so love if you share it with a friend, a sister, a mother, a daughter, and please leave a review. That is how the magic starts to ripple out. Here's wishing you a day full of beauty, magic, and divine self-care. I'll see you next time at the Meditations and Musings podcast.